The change in weather patterns is prolonging the lake turnover, which also means it's prolonging that taste and smell. Over here on the north side, there is still some standing water in some of these more lower lying roads, and one of the issues with that could be the storm drains. Students are saying the district needs more long-term security and solutions, and they want to be at the table. He's sitting in jail right now, but many of his properties, like this one, are still sitting on Springfield streets, literally crumbling. Search and rescue operations are ongoing here this morning, and you're right, this wind is making it much more complicated for those first responders. It means that instead of DCFS children getting one of these to hold their belongings, they'll get one of these instead. The COVID-19 trends in Sangamon and Menard County have been like a mirror for almost the whole pandemic. We'll show you what might be causing them to shift. The registry of abandoned buildings hadn't been publicly updated in about 3 years before our reporting. And these are pretty easy to clean up, but let me show you what isn't. This house is newly being renovated, and the winds were so strong that it snapped a tree, careening into the roof. Another statue of him was removed this summer because of his connections to slavery. In the last year, almost 200 foster children have spent the night in an office or a transitional center because DCFS didn't have a place to put them.
Springfield, Southeast, and Lanphier. Students across District 186 walking out Friday, protesting the death of Pierre Scott Jr., a Lanphier senior fatally stabbed on school grounds.
I am tired of the school district being reactive rather than being proactive. Why did it take this thing to happen 2 times and something drastic for us to have a change and to realize that we need something to be done?
At Lanphier, a celebration of Pierre's life.
I know y'all can be louder than that.
At Springfield, a walk around the building. And a peaceful protest at Southeast, where a stabbing earlier this semester left one student in the hospital.
They don't put more money into the safety of hiring more security guards or metal detectors or more wanding equipment. Yes, that stuff is expensive and time consuming, but we want the safety of our school.
Students demanding more security and accountability from the district.
It is too easy for people to take things into school.
Still mourning the loss of a classmate and friend. Students say they shouldn't fear for their lives when they walk into school each day.
Because we can't learn if we are not safe.
We obtained this body camera video from the night Dartavius Barnes says the Springfield Police Department desecrated his daughter's ashes. Here he is getting pulled over. Incident reports from that night claim Barnes sped through an area following reported gunfire. Barnes handcuffed and detained while police search his car. While this officer investigates the shots fired, another searches Barnes' car with his permission.
You got anything in your car? No problem with search?
According to the report, they found an illegal amount of marijuana and what they thought was ecstasy or meth.
So then I checked for cocaine, but it looks like it's probably a small X pill.
That container the officer is holding, we'll soon find out that's Tanasia's urn. An officer telling Barnes the container tested positive for meth or ecstasy. Barnes confused, asking to see what they found. And here's what unfolded.
No, bro. That's my daughter. What are y'all doing, bro? That's my daughter, bro. Give me that, bro. That's my daughter, bro.
This is his daughter's ashes that Reedland got tested positive for meth.
Barnes telling the officer, "You know her, you know me." Officers went to test the contents again, but then they decided they believed him. Police giving the urn to Barnes's father, who was waiting up the street.
You don't have to open it up.
I'm not, but common sense, though, man. Come on.
After 21 minutes in the back of the police car, Barnes was released and given a notice to appear.
I'm just gonna give him a notice to appear on the weed.
Okay. Aside from off dad and testing the dead baby ashes.
In his lawsuit, Barnes accuses the officers of illegal search and seizure, false imprisonment, and emotional distress. He is asking for damages as well as a trial by jury. Search and rescue operations are ongoing here this morning, and you're right, this wind is making it much more complicated for those first responders. As the sun comes up, we're starting to get a better look at the damage here at the Amazon warehouse facility in Edwardsville. As you can see, a huge chunk of the building is missing, with only the support beam still standing. Officials say at least 2 people have been confirmed dead and more are injured. There's no word on how many people were inside the facility when the storm hit, but police are estimating that there are about 50. Now, like we said, search and rescue operations are ongoing this morning, and police are working to make sure that all of the people who were in that building are reconnected with their families. We'll keep you updated on the situation as it unfolds. In Edwardsville, I'm Jordan Elder. Back to you.
The city of Springfield is required by the decade-old ordinance you see here to keep a registry of abandoned properties and make it public.
Because 10 years ago when I got on the council, we did a lot of amendments to the registered building. And one of the amendments I made sure got in there was that they had to publish online the registered buildings. And if it's not online, you know, someone's dropped the ball.
But not only is the list not online, it doesn't even exist. We asked for an interview with Director of Public Works Nate Bottom and Deputy Public Works Director Daryl Harris. Instead of either of the two directors, we were provided an interview with Planning Coordinator Joshua Ruffley. He's worked for the city for 5 months. He addressed the city's lack of compliance in following its own ordinance.
I must thank you. I believe you're the one that sent an email in about 170-1758, E specifically, and it does state that we need to have it on the city's website. This was actually something I was not aware of personally.
He's talking about this public records request I filed to get the registry, trying to see which properties in Springfield may soon be eligible for foreclosure or demolition. The city's FOIA officer extended the request at first, saying Public Works had to compile, quote, quite a bit of information. But this is the response I got. No documents responsive to this request. Ruffley and other city officials confirmed Wednesday that the list doesn't actually exist.
We can get the list built, and then we can get that over to communications, and they'll get that posted.
So the list is not built at this time?
The data is out there. It just needs to be compiled.
Alderman McMenamin expressed outrage that the list isn't being kept.
Wouldn't that technically be non-compliance with city code?
Yeah, it's the city government non-complying with its own ordinance, correct.
Ruffley says he doesn't know how long it will take the department to comply or when the abandoned buildings list will be made public. Why did it take my FOIA and our reporting to learn that the city wasn't in compliance with this?
I think just too many other things going on at once. You know, sometimes things just have to fall by the wayside that probably don't feel as important. I can't speak to any that were in my place before. Or that are even in the department for that matter. I don't know.
City officials are now calling on the mayor, saying more oversight is needed for the department and more transparency is needed for Springfield residents.
How are you going to pull for transparency on this issue?
Well, I think lots of folks are going to see this TV interview, and I hope it gets their attention, especially those within city government.
One of the main goals of the 3-year registry is tracking which property owners need to pay fines for their abandoned buildings. City officials worry that no registry could mean no punishment, meaning Springfield could have lost out on hundreds of thousands of dollars in fines. Reporting in studio, I'm Jordan Elder. Back to you.